Hello there, and welcome to another episode of the Chronically Empowered Mom Podcast. This is episode number 27, Digitally Driven, Perfecting My Podcast Workflow. And I'm pretty excited to talk about this topic today because this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time. Sometimes you just get into your grind and you just want to do stuff. You don't really think about how you're doing it and if it's the most efficient method for doing it or if it's something that you really even need to be doing. So I want to go back to the beginning when I wanted to start a podcast. Last year, I got my vision board all ready, and I knew that I wanted to podcast again because it was 9 years since I had podcasted, and I had a picture of my son as a baby on my chest, and I was holding the camera to take a selfie. Behind me was my microphone, which I'm on now, and my computer where I would do my podcast at my desk. So things have changed now. And he's 8 years old. So I, wanted to start doing it again, and I wanted to include him in it. But I was doing it for the past 25 episodes, about a quarter of the way through to 100. And I realized that it was a lot of work, gathering him up, making sure that we got the podcast episode right. He would like to do a little funny business in the beginning. It wasn't just, grab Sean, go to the microphone, record it perfectly, then just put it in the podcast episode. It wasn't like that. Doing the podcast itself, the production element of a podcast is enough in itself. And I'm my own podcast host. I don't have any sponsors at this time yet. It's not looking like I'm going to be doing that for a while now. I just wanted to get on the air, express myself, have a forum for self-expression and also for communication and listening to you and what you need help with. I want to make sure that I can empower as many people as I can throughout my day to know that you can be the best version of you. It is never too late and it is never impossible. It's always a possibility. Some things are a little work, but they can be done. So I'm here to show you that even though I have MS, I'm still podcasting. I'm on YouTube. I'm having a ball. I just actually came back from a breakfast with 10 of my friends. We're all Wayne moms. And at the Wayne Moms Club, we got together at a local restaurant here. And I made sure I was there, planted myself nice and early so that we could get a nice table. There was a couple of my other friends there too. So if I'm a little hoarse in talking to you, it's because I've been doing a little talking before the show. Now I know that from my singing days, you want to keep your voice rested before a performance, right? Well, I didn't have a chance to rest my voice for you, so I hope that, we're going to last through to the end of this podcast. So I wanted to share with you, my refining my processes for my podcast in particular, because this is the forum that you chose to listen to me on, and I'm completely grateful that you are here listening to this podcast. You could be on YouTube watching this video. Don't know. You see me in my workout attire if you are checking it out there. But I wanted to make sure that I had two platforms. I'm recording my voice, so I might as well make it more efficient for myself to have two platforms to be visible and to have my content go on the web. We have a YouTube video. There's also a podcast that's coming out on YouTube as well that I investigated for quite a while now. And since I'm moving off of doing the podcast as it stands now on Buzzsprout, the way I'm doing it with AI giving me a podcast description, an episode title, it's giving me a transcript, and it serves it to me. I don't use it as it gives it to me. There's always a little work that I have to do, but just the fact that it helps me get that stuff started is a pretty big deal. So I use AI every day of my life. It's a big help for me to ask a question when my brain may be able to wrap around an idea or what to do in a particular situation. I ask it for recipes if I have a couple of ingredients laying around and I don't know what to do with. More than happy to serve me up with stuff. I will ask it for some ideas on art, right? Well, I'm going to talk about that in a little bit, what I do more with it, but I'm not well versed in art. I love art, but if I'm creating art, I don't necessarily know where to go to for inspiration. So it's been a big help on that front for me. And I'll share more with you in a little while too. So we have this podcast, right, that I'm trying to refine my processes for. I want to have a workflow. I don't want to have a work clunk, right? I want to make sure that I can keep chugging and I can keep on cranking out the content that people want and that you want to really listen to. Because there's no point in me sitting here in front of a microphone if nobody's really listening. If a tree falls in the forest and no one's there to hear it, does it really make a sound? No, not much. So, so I wanted to talk about my process and what it takes to actually put together a podcast. In the morning, I have my morning routine, and usually, right, this is 3 o'clock in the morning we're going back to. Now it's 11:40. So we have a few more minutes here with me as I go through my process. But in the morning, that's my time when my brain is untouched. Think of it like the moon, right? The moon originally was, I'm pretty sure, a ball. It was an orb, just like Earth was. And then stuff happens, you have lava, you have flowing mountains, you have all kinds of stuff that happens on the surface of the Earth. People walk, they make footprints, right? Meteors hit the Earth, you have craters. So the same thing with the moon. You have things hit the moon, it's going to get rid of that nice clean surface and leave craters. Okay, this is exactly what happens to me during my day. So I think of it like that, right? I'm clean, like the moon when it was just formed, and then you have a lot of stuff happen to you during your day, and here comes the craters. So I always think of it like that. I only have so many hours in my day that I'm up, awake, and alert. I am up. I can't say that I'm alert for all of those, especially later on in the day when I peter out. About 4 o'clock, I'm pretty cooked. I need a nap if I haven't had one already, and I'm ready to go pick up my son from school, from aftercare. He's there hanging out, and I need a break. A rest during my day is when I do a lot of my thought production and try to figure out what has to be done and most efficiently. So when it comes to my morning routine, a very important piece of that is making a brain map and thinking of all the things that I need to do during the day, and how I'm going to get each of those done with little dots under each of those as to what has to happen. So for instance, with a podcast, right? I need a topic. I need some kind of topic to talk about. I can't just come here and sit in front of the microphone and I don't know, what do you want to talk about? Oh, I don't know, what do you want to talk about, right? You have to have something to talk, and I'm not interviewing anybody right now. Not to say that I won't be, but if I'm talking, I have to have a clear topic to talk about. So there can be different kinds of categories of topics, and some people, and I'd like to get to this point, will sit down and schedule out different categories for the month, for 2 months, maybe you can go on even longer, but they will come up with a schedule of things to produce. We'll look at Google Trends, see what hot topics are there, what people want to talk about. So with a title, I need to come up with a title. And usually I would come up with this title after I would record, right? Then my son would record the episode title after AI would generate some versions for him to look at and see what, may resonate with him, and also what was easy for him to pronounce in the microphone without flubbing up on in his little 8-year-old voice, right, before it cracks. We're going to get there. It's coming up in a few years, right, when they hit puberty. So now I'm enjoying that little 8-year-old voice, but he messes up and he calls me Vicky Siciliano. So, and I understand that, sometimes it's cute, but sometimes he wants to get it right and he gets frustrated. So I wanted to make sure that I could involve him in production, but not necessarily with recording these episode numbers, because it would take a lot of work for me to rope him in sit down, which he doesn't like to do, and record the intro. Then I would have to put it at the beginning of the production, and then I would have to, put my podcast intro, my podcast that I recorded, like just this, the outro, and then blend all of the sound together, make sure that it's mastered correctly, amplified as it needs to be. It's a lot of technical stuff that happens there. So it was just breaking me. Okay, this episode the episode number was adorable when he started, but then it started to get a little busy. So with the production of it, I have that. I'm doing that all on this laptop here, and that's fine. But I also have to have this. I don't want to make too much noise with it here, but you got this Blue Yeti microphone. This is a standing microphone that I've used since the beginning, and it's a great microphone, there's no doubt. But I wanted to make sure, how can I get this out of view? Hold on. There we go. Okay. So I wanted to make sure that it wasn't the only way that I could record. I didn't want to come in and have to sit down at a computer and have to be tied to this microphone, because it is a little cumbersome. I had a cart that I put this on and rolled over here. I can't really walk holding anything because I have 2 forearm crutches that I use to walk and get around. So carrying stuff is kind of tough for me. So I want to have a physical production where I have to move this microphone from where it is stationed now. It's stationed at a desk that I really don't use anymore because after, over time, using this desk, which was in the most remote part of my house, it was fantastic. It was quiet. I could record, free thoughts flow. It was beautiful. But I realized it was behind a chair that was often in my way. And we do not want things in Vicky's way because Vicky is best when I'm up here and not flat on my ass on the ground, okay? So I don't want to trip over anything and cause trouble to myself or keep you from hearing some podcasts because I was in the hospital or something. I want to keep rolling, okay? I'm trying to make this an efficient process, make it as enjoyable as it can be for myself, and without a lot of headache, and making me frustrated and making me tired, okay? So the production of this involves a microphone. Now I have a wireless microphone that I could use, but I have some trouble pairing it. So I'm gonna investigate that because that would keep me even more mobile. If I could record on this phone, okay, that I have my little kind of outline that I'm going to talk about things, if I could record on that phone away from here and I could record in the car wherever I am and make me completely mobile with this podcast production, that's my goal. Because I don't want to have to sit here at a desk or at a counter with the laptop recording in one app, and then I have to make the sound file to upload to Buzzsprout, which sends it out to all of the podcast platforms, like podcasts on Apple and Audible and Amazon and everything. Okay, so there's a lot of stuff that happens in the podcast production to get it to you. So you have these elements that go into a podcast, like the episode number, the intro, the actual podcast sound clip, and you have the outro. So you have those 4 things. I was using Audacity, which is a free tool that you can use to do any kind of recording you want for sound, and it was just a lot, with the introduction, the episode intro. So I decided to do away with it, and I've been recording for the past 2 episodes my own introduction, right, to the episode number. So I'm hoping it's working out well. We'll see, because I don't know when I'm going to be able to get my intro on. The outro is pretty easy. I could just put this up in Audacity, then just tag on an outro very easily. But if I have to separate my podcast episode number from this actual show, then put the outro, it's a little work, right? So you can see. It's not what I'm best at. I really love to express myself. There's no doubt. I love to talk to you. I love to see you. in person. But if this is the best that we've gotten, it's a way for me to get to share my message with you, that you can do anything that you want to, and you just put your mind to it, set the intention, and believe that you can do it. You can do a lot. Okay, and that's my message and why I'm here. So you've got this video now that I'm doing. I've done it a few episodes into my recording the podcast, and I was doing it on an online platform, Riverside FM, and it was great. But it costs money. Any kind of production tool is going to cost you money, so it makes it easy for you. If I had sponsors, then maybe I would just be happy to keep it on board, but I didn't feel it was worth my time and money to do that. With Buzzsprout, I can have a podcast for free. They will host it for 3 months, and then it goes down. So I don't know that I want to do that. I might just keep the minimum, which costs $12 a month. Right now it's more than that because I'm having them do some AI for me and getting my description and stuff I told you about. But I think I can do it myself. So as long as I'm able to keep my podcast down under 20 minutes, I think I might be able to get a transcript of this, either from YouTube or some other service. I haven't found the way yet, but I can get my own transcript, upload that to AI, which I use ChatGPT, and then it can give me an idea of what a description would be from this transcript that I gave them, and also will give me the verbatim transcript that I also need. And then I have to put it up on my website. I need to make sure that I upload it to Buzzsprout, and I need to clean up stuff on there too. It's not an easy thing, and especially in a team of one, right? I got to do it all myself. So I thank you, and I hope that you're patient with me, but I'm going through a little change here with this podcast now. So I'm not going to stop recording. I'm just going to change the way that you're receiving this information, and I'm not going to just stop and drop it. So we'll see what happens over time. It'll be interesting. So just to go off topic a little bit, which not too much off topic because it is one of the things that is a big part of my life now and makes me really happy, is that I'm creating these coloring books for adults, but also I just did a coloring book for children with my son Sean. And that was a busy production because all of the pictures were generated based on all of the bugs having one letter of the alphabet. So there was a bug for every letter of the alphabet. It had an interesting fact about each of them. It had a coloring prompt for them. It was a lot of work. It was not just generate a bunch of pictures and then just make a coloring book. It was very labor intensive, and I see that now. I see the error of my ways. But it was fun for Sean, and he got a real first-hand look at what AI can do. So right now I'm getting more into doing the adult coloring books and getting into the production of that and actually making the book. So that's something that I'm working on. And then, of course, there's always working out for me, and this is something we know. I will always be a personal trainer that's certified through the National Academy of Sports Medicine. I was before, and I am now. And if anybody ever wants a resource, I'm more than happy to be. I was speaking at the MS Society for the meetings, and I was a group leader, and then I'm not a group leader now, but I still don't want to lose that information because I will have to work out for the rest of my life, right? Everybody should anyway. So I always want to be up to date on the latest information. So that's something that's always a big part of my life, and I have to make sure that I set that intention every day, know what I'm going to do, and have a plan. So I'm always trying to refine my processes and find a better way to do that too, because I don't want to get too tired early part of my day, and I want to make sure I get the most of my workout. So with my morning routine, I start off each day with gratitude, and that's a big part of my life, a big part of my world. I have to say, it didn't come easy for me in the beginning. It came to me with practice, and you have to look at life not through rosy glasses at all. There are going to be challenges every day. I'm not saying to lie to yourself that there are not challenges, but there can always be good in everything that you encounter. And if you are positive, good things will come to you. If you just go around all sullen and sunken in and you just don't think that anything's working out right for you, nothing's ever going to work out right for you. And it doesn't have to be that way. You have a choice. You make you happy. Nobody can make you happy but you. So right now I'm making myself happy by not feeling lost in all of these different things that I'm doing with my podcast and my coloring books and working out and my morning routine and how am I going to do it all. You know what? I sit down with my book, my morning journal, and I write in it and I make my map. I make all the things that I have to do and all the things that I have to get done for each one. Then I look at the processes, like my podcast, and I broke it down. I need a topic, I need a title, I need a production, intro, all these things, and then I see how I can change each one of them. I guess like a project manager, right? And how can I make sure that we can meet our deadline, okay? And sometimes these deadlines are self-inflicted, I will say, but you have to realize that they don't have to be. You don't have to make things hard on yourself by giving yourself false deadlines. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just make sure that every day you get a little better, and that's exactly what I'm doing today. And I appreciate you letting me talk this out, because this actually helped me with putting together this podcast in this new way that I'm going to be doing it without my son introducing every episode. Did it really have to be? Did it really add value to the audience, the message from it? Not really. For myself, I knew that I wanted to do this very much. So it was ultimately for myself, and I proved I can do it. So I'm going to put that one on the back shelf. Okay, and we're going to get here. I'm going to get here to you with my message, and I'm going to share stuff with you that I find really intrigues me, and I think will definitely change your world too, because I think, if whether or not you have a chronic illness, everybody goes through stuff, and there's always somebody with just a little bit worse than you have it. So if you can find a way that really helps you, why not share it with somebody else? So this helps me, refining my processes and looking at the how and getting my workflow to really flow and not be a work clunk. Okay, so I hope this helped you. I hope that you got something from this. If you have any questions, please, this is episode number 27. This is on my website, chronicallyempoweredmom.com. And this will be up on the web, and you can definitely post comments there. And if you like this podcast, please post a review for me. And I appreciate it very much. And I'll talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye.